Vendors, how you doing? And first, thank you for participating in the Dear Music Festival. This is Vending 101. Some of you may have already know some of these things I'm going to tell you, but this is pretty much for those who are just beginning to vend. And the keys of things that I'm going to give you is for wherever you go to vend. So let's get right into it. First, I would like to say Victoria is the head of the Deer Music, and she's the first person that I've ever dealt with that really care about the sellers, the vendors making money. So, shout out to Victoria. Whoop, whoop. Okay, I'm gonna get right into it. I've been vending for 10 years now, and one of the first things that I learned when I started vending was the energy. The energy you provide for your booth is very important. If you're looking mad, looking upset, people will see that and they keep walking. Your booth have to look inviting, and it says it in your body language. Your your energy must be very inviting. And I mean, in ways like even if nobody's in your booth, you just got to create a great atmosphere, fun, smiling atmosphere. So you want to make sure you have good energy to bring people, to make people want to come over to your booth. So I'm looking at my list here. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my list. Now, whatever product you are selling, make sure you know your product for the questions that may come from a buyer. Make sure you know your product and make sure you're able to answer questions to the best of your ability about your product without any hesitation. Because if you appear not to know about your product, that would turn the buyer off, and the buyer would keep going here, go to the next booth and decide whether they want to buy something or not. And one key thing that I've learned is smile. If you have a ton of people walking back and forth past your booth, smile. Hey, how you doing? And because a lot of times buyers, they're kind of zoned out. They're just walking. But when you say, hey, how you doing, and you smile, they have to look over at you and look over at your booth. So it's a good opportunity for them to look over at your booth and say, oh, they got some jewelry over here. Let me check some of this out. And I've made many sales that way. I've made a ton of sales that way. So make sure that you always have a genuine smile, and speaking to people as they walk past your booth. How you doing? Glad you came out. Come check me out. Just little talking points that gets you a sale. Customer service is always, no matter where you go, is always very important. Even after they spend their money, hey, do you want a bag, or, just don't make them feel like now that they didn't spend money, you don't give a damn about them. You don't want them to feel that way. Because what a lot of times they do, they go get their husband, their wife, their cousin, they'll come back, and get more stuff. But if they feel like that you just took their money and you didn't respect them, because the thing about buyers, there are a lot of buyers that are going to be rude. But remember, you're working a job. The best way is to respond to a buyer that's being rude the best way you can, and pretty much just, if you got somebody really rude, just pretend like, say whatever, and then just start straightening up things on your table and just kind of get away from that conversation. I can't stress this next rule enough. Do not be on your phone. Do not have your head down and you're in your phone, unless you're making a transaction. Absolutely, And every now and then when it's quiet and slow, you might want to go in and check your phone for messages and things like that. But make it very brief. Don't make it an all day thing where you're having a conversation with somebody on social media while you're at your booth. Stay off your phone. Because when a buyer comes by and see you on your phone, they're going to feel like they're distracting you, so they're not going to come in your booth. They're not going to come look because they're going to feel like you're busy, and they may have a question about your product, but they're not going to want to interrupt you being on your phone. on that note, also do not sit in the middle of your booth. Some people sit in the middle of their booth, and that intimidates buyers from coming into your booth. Sit on the side, depending on your setup. Be incognito. Kind of be on the side, but don't be dead in the middle because that does intimidate buyers. And this whole course, one-on-one vending course, is to make the buyers comfortable and to make the sale, control the conversation, make the sale. The key to most of it is getting the buyer to the booth. You want to get the buyer to the booth. So don't sit in the middle of your booth. Sit on the side and allow your merchandise to be your preview. If you sit in the middle, you become the preview. Let your merchandise become the preview. So when a buyer comes to your booth and they're looking at stuff, they're looking around, they're touching stuff, and they're asking questions, and you ask them, and they still not buying anything. As they're walking away, you may want to say, hey, come back and see me, before you leave, come back and check me out, Some will take you up on it, some won't. But an opportunity is there for you to sell, to offer them to come back and make the sale, and those things work for me. Always offer the buyer to come back. And the biggest mistake a lot of vendors make is leaving before the end of the event. I can tell you, I was at an event just 3 weeks ago. Horrible event. Nobody was making money. And people started leaving early. And this has happened to me more than once. A lot of times, buyers come to events at the end on purpose. And I made all my money back plus some at that particular event because I stayed until the end. The last couple of hours, I made profit. I made what I spent on my booth. I made money back. And that has happened to me more than once. Stay until the end. That's the biggest mistake vendors make, is not staying until the end. A lot of times buyers come at the end because they're looking for a deal, and they figure they can get the best deals at the end. But you have control over the deals that you do. But the truth is, once you pack up and leave a little early, you're actually losing money. Because I can tell you from experience that I absolutely have made major money at the end of an event. So those are the things. Let me make sure I covered everything. Let me look at my list here. Yeah, I think I've covered pretty much everything. Now these pointers and tips can go with you wherever you go. I know Dear Music is what you're gonna do in June, but this is wherever you go. You really have to be a salesman, and you really have to have the right personality and attitude. And if it's 2 people working your booth, make sure you guys understand that when one of you guys are dealing with the customers, you're not interrupting the other person trying to make the sale. That one person sits quiet while one person makes the sale, or if one person's answering the question, you don't intervene and say, no, it's not that, it's this. It makes you look, like you don't know what you're doing. Make sure if your partner says something wrong, make sure the customer's gone before you correct your partner and say, hey, well, no, it's not this price, it's this, it's this, it's this. Don't do it in front of the customer. Anyway, I'm D-Rev. I am doing the Vending 101. My name is D-Revolution, and we will see me out at Dear Music. And thank you for being a part of this festival and event. And thank you, Victoria. And promote the event. Promote, because the more you promote, the better it is for you. Make sure you're inviting people to the events page and putting the flyer out there. I can't stress how much that is important for you. You're not doing it for Victoria. You're doing it for yourself. The more of us being and promote it, the more people is going to be there and the more money we're going to make. If nobody's there, then we have to look at ourselves. So that's my spiel. Thank you very much, and you guys have a great rest of the day.